Look, I've seen some wild stuff in this paddock, but Red Bull trying to give Mercedes a lecture on fair play, that's a new one. For real, 0.3 of a second per lap, on paper, it sounds like a blink. But in F1, that's the gap between being a California hero and being the guy no one remembers after the podium. Pierre Waché actually went to the cameras in Bahrain and said they wanted to be fair. Fair. Red Bull. The team that built an empire by being the most aggressive, political, and ruthless squad on the grid. In my book, that's not justice. That's fear. Or better yet, it's pure strategy. Mercedes, with Toto Wolff at the helm, found a massive hole in the FIA rulebook. The FIA dropped the compression ratio to 16:1, right? Well, the engineers in Brackley are absolute evil geniuses. They found a way to claw back 15 horsepower when nobody else was looking. And when Mercedes gains 15 extra horses, the rest of the grid starts sweating bullets. So why isn't Max Verstappen's team screaming for a penalty? Why aren't they demanding Toto's head on a silver platter? Because they're playing the long game. They're making their own engines now. They're the rookies in this division. They know that if they kill this innovation now, they might be closing the door on their own grey area tech down the road. Real talk. This means Red Bull would rather let Mercedes run with a cheat code now than risk FIA scrutiny that could screw up the Red Bull Powertrains development later. It's the political chess we love to hate in F1, but don't get it twisted. This "we wanted to be fair" narrative is the biggest smokescreen I've seen in years. They aren't fair, they're smart, and they know you, the real fans, can see right through it. Now, let's talk tech, but without that boring engineer speak that puts everyone to sleep. Think of an F1 engine like a set of lungs. The FIA stepped in and said, hey, you can only breathe at 80% capacity now. That's the drop from 18 to 16 in the compression ratio. Less compressed air, smaller explosion, less speed. Simple, right? Except Mercedes. Man, Mercedes doesn't do less. They found a slick way to manipulate fuel flow or ignition. The details are top secret, to make that 80% feel like 100% again. That's worth 0.3. 3. At tracks like Silverstone or Spa, that's a lifetime. And here's the part that grinds my gears as someone who analyses paddock politics every day. Pierre Waché says he just followed the process. But think about it. If you're Red Bull and your biggest rival finds a way to be 0.3 seconds faster before the season even starts, you don't just sit there and take it because you're a nice guy. The truth hurts. Red Bull is behind. They're feeling the weight of being a first-time engine manufacturer. Fighting Mercedes now would be admitting they couldn't find the same solution. So they sell this image of integrity to buy time. It's like a basketball player committing a clear foul but putting his hands up like, who? Me? Just to avoid the tech. For us fans out here in Cali, who are used to the show and transparency, this sounds fake. We want strong opinions. We want people who kick the door down. Seeing Red Bull act like the FIA's little diplomat is, at the very least, frustrating. It's like they're letting Hamilton or Russell have a legal cheat code just so they don't have to show their own cards yet. At the end of the day, what does this tell us about F1 in 2026? It tells us the war isn't on the track anymore. It's in the FIA offices in Paris. It's in the fine print of a rulebook that looks like it was written in ancient Greek. Mercedes proved they still have the best engineering DNA in the world. They found power where the FIA tried to kill it. And Red Bull proved they've grown up. But in a way we don't really like. They got corporate, they got political. That punk rock Red Bull from the past that challenged everyone, gone. Replaced by a tech director talking about being fair to the process. Man, that makes zero sense if your goal is winning world championships. Unless, and here's my bet, Red Bull has something way bigger hidden away. Something they don't want Mercedes pointing fingers at. It's the classic, I won't talk about your 15 horses if you don't talk about my ERS secret. This is modern F1, guys. It's business. It's backroom strategy. We're out here suffering because we wanted to see wheel-to-wheel racing while they're debating compression ratios and legal jargon. But hey, I want to hear from you. Are you Team Max and think Red Bull is right to stay chill? Or are you Team Lewis and laughing that Mercedes gamed the system again? In my book, Toto Wolff just scored a massive goal, and Red Bull is trying to pretend the game hasn't even started. But the stopwatch doesn't lie, 15 horsepower doesn't lie, and 0.3 seconds per lap? That's what decides who lifts the trophy at the end of the year. What grade do you give Red Bull's excuse today? 0 or 10? Let me know in the comments, because honestly, I'm not buying this fair play story for a second. I'm out.